Hello and welcome to World Insight special program Wei in 2 sessions. I'm Tian Wei. CPPCC, China's top advisory body, wraps up its annual meeting on Wednesday. Still buckled down to work are the legislature, the National People's Congress. Up to deliberation is a draft policy on improving Hong Kong's electoral systems. Revisions are expected to keep patriots in Hong Kong's executive and legislative council branches, while allowing diverse opinions to be heard. Rita Fan, former president of the Hong Kong SAR Legislative Council. We know about the latest changes to improve the election rules in Hong Kong, but some suggest the representation will be a big problem. Do you see it that way?
I don't really agree with that, because there are criticism from the pan-democrats camp, which now we call them the opposition, which feels that this is moving backwards as far as democracy is concerned. Now, I have to make it quite clear that what happened in 2019 in Hong Kong was totally unacceptable after the Hong Kong National Security Law was implemented. Hong Kong come back to some of our normal life. We are able to go out without fear. We are able to take the MTR without concern that we might be hit or burned. And we experience this day in, day out. I'm afraid I have to. And I'm duty bound as a Hong Kong citizen to support people who will ensure and work for the prosperity and stability of Hong Kong. Mm-hmm. But of course, this is not what the mainstream media in the West are reporting. I'm afraid they have their own agenda, and that is not the agenda for Hong Kong's prosperity and stability.
So, Rita, you are suggesting that this latest improvement to the Hong Kong election rule is a choice of no choice because of what happened over the past 2 years and the current system that's actually leading to what happened over the past 2 years. Is that what you try to suggest?
Yes. If I may put it in a more, as an example, we are on this train, and this train has gone into a rail which leads to the destruction of Hong Kong's stability and prosperity. So we have to pull the train back and put it on the right rail. The right rail is to have one country, two system intact, properly and fully implemented, and Hong Kong's community can enjoy peace and also prosperity. This is the right route. So if you see the whole picture, as I see in Hong Kong, actually, we don't have any choice. We have to ask the National People's Congress to do something to ensure that our election method of choosing the chief executive and members of the legislature do not lead to the destruction of Hong Kong's economy and our livelihood.
Rita Fan, you used to serve the Legislative Council in Hong Kong. And now with the new rules, it is possible that the Legislative Council will have powers, for example, on spending, tax cuts, but half of the members are only going to be elected. Are you worried about this as the former head of the Legislative Council and who served Hong Kong for years?
First of all, I'd like to make it absolutely clear. We have no choice. We cannot go back to what happened in the last 4 years. This is bad for Hong Kong, and it will get worse, as we have seen. This filibuster, bodily contact, insulting actions in the legislature encouraged the people outside and these black-clad rioters began to destroy Hong Kong. They vandalized everything that they could possibly put their hand on. So we have no choice. We have been forced to this situation that we need a legislature which can check and balance the administration, but not with force, with reason. Now, the other organizations, the professional organizations, trade unions, and so on in Hong Kong, they all have their representatives in the legislature through the functional constituency. Not to mention the fact that any one of them who wish to participate in a direct election, they can still do it. And they can also offer themselves as a candidate for the seat in the legislature through the election by the election committee.
There has been new requirements and tendencies to have Pledge of Allegiance of civil servants, for example, and also have the national anthems, the national songs, and also in the campuses and broadcast at universities, middle schools, primary schools. Meanwhile, there is also a demand about the overall governing of Hong Kong done by patriots. Some people say this is too much. To you, is it?
No, it's not too much. We should have done it 23 years ago. We did not do anything. We do not have flag raising or singing of the national anthem in Hong Kong for more than 22 years. This is acceptable.
As simple as that.
Hong Kong is part of China. We are Chinese. We should at least be able to know what is our national flag and to sing our national album. Put it internationally. Would any country accept that their people need not know their national album, need not respect the national flag? We did not educate our young people about our nation.
Some suggest there was a security law being introduced in Hong Kong last year, and now there is also improvement of the election rules. And who knows what's going to happen next. So it's really the one country system we talked about in 1997. Your take?
In fact, it's not in 1997. It is in 1983 when the Joint Declaration was signed. And the Basic Law was passed in 1990. And the Basic Law was more or less modeled on what the political makeup was during that time. And the Basic Law added something which we didn't have, and that is universal franchise for the chief executive after the candidate had been nominated by the widely representative election committee, and the election by universal franchise of the legislature. This is something we never had before. This is something new in the Basic Law. Now, what happened was people make use of the lack of political experience in Hong Kong in our general public. They came out to do all kinds of terrible things, which the rioters did. This is why we are making all these changes. If we don't have the national security law for Hong Kong, the rioters will not stop. They will come back. So again, I put it to you, to the international media, how could we ensure Hong Kong's stability and prosperity? We have to come back to the original ideas, the original design, and do it faithfully. Only this way we can keep one country, two systems. What is one country, two systems? I think most people doesn't understand it. One country, two system is the way in which the central authorities delegate power to Hong Kong so that Hong Kong can keep our way of life, and the way we operate our economy. So Hong Kong is one of the most open economy in the world. Hong Kong people can come in and out without any question. This is one 2-2 system. The development of political structure in Hong Kong, Hong Kong can initiate, but the final approval rests with the National People's Congress and its standing committee. And if you read the basic law, read Annex 1 and Annex 2, which is the election methods for the Chief Executive and the Legislative Council, you will see that very, very clearly. Moreover, the National People's Congress, by our Constitution, Article 31, has the responsibility of deciding the structure of the special administrative region. So what they are doing right now is very much within the law and in accordance with the law.
All right. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure talking to you, Rita Fan.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it.
All the best.